Gaming on Memory Lane.
Get ready!
Alright, on today's episode of Memory Lane, here on Gaming Plus Empire, we're going to be playing a little bit of Atari 2600. An Atari 2600 controller can only mean one thing. We'll be playing the Atari 2600. Today, we'll be using the Atari 7800, fully backwards compatible with the 2600. The Atari 7800 was released in 1986. The original 2600 was released back in 1977. The Atari 2600 and 7800 combined sold over 30 million consoles. The Atari 7800 featured a 1.79 MHz CPU, 4 kilobytes of RAM, and the Atari 7800 uses the same 2-channel audio chip found inside the Atari 2600. What a great console! And today we're going to be taking a look at some bad and good movie games. Let's take a look at the rating system. It's a 3-star rating system that we came up with here. 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. Let's go check it out real quick.
Memory Lane rating system loading. 1-star rating equals horrible, real bad, trash. 2-star rating equals fair, good Randall, worth playing once. 3-star rating equals great, must own, possible hidden gem.
Alright, so not only am I going to be rating these games, you guys are going to be rating these games down below. So down below I want to see your list and what your ratings and what do you think about these games. And let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's check out some good and bad movie and TV show games and let's see how these games are. Alright, here we have Tron Deadly Discs. For the Atari 2600, it's an M Network cartridge, so pretty much see what you get right here. There's nothing fancy on the cartridge at all. The spine label has a little Tron logo, but as fancy as you're gonna get. There's nothing really fancy here whatsoever. Now this is what the box art looks like. Obviously the box art looks better than the cartridge, and let's see exactly how good this game is. Let's head over and let's find out. Is Tron Deadly Disc any good? Let's find out. Let's head over to the Atari 2600. And here we have the game right here, Tron Deadly Disc. And you have to pretty much do exactly what you do in the Tron movie. You have to run around and shoot discs at your enemies. Try to hit them with the discs. And that's how you score in this game. And you know what? This game is actually pretty good. It's actually one of the better Tron games. This is exactly what I would want from a Tron game. You're literally doing exactly what's in the movie. You're shooting the discs out, hitting your opponents, and it's actually pretty fun. I'm going to give it 3 stars. It's actually pretty fun, and I will say if you're going to buy a Tron game, let it be this one right here. This game is actually not bad. Alright, next up we have Porky's for the Atari 2600. And take a look at the label art right there. It's a 20th Century Fox game. You have a dashboard and you have some neon lights right there. Not a huge fan of this. It kind of looks like the Porky's Revenge movie poster, as you can see right here. Kind of looks like that. But as you can see here on the actual label art, there's not really much to see. A card dash, a couple of dice right there. Got some neon lights of the Porky's. And let's go take a look at this game and see how it translates from the movie to the game. And here we have Porky's for the Atari 2600. You know, at first glance, it looks like you're playing something similar to Leapfrog. Just hopping across, and all of a sudden you fall straight down into a hole. Looks like a pond. You have to use like a stick to hop across and try to escape, make your way out. You can even see the Porky's building right there on the top. That's pretty cool. Look at that. And it's actually pretty fun. It's not bad. There's different elements to the game, kind of similar to like what you would see with E.T. This is a 2-star. It's not perfect. It's still fun. This would have been a great rental back in the day. What do you guys think? What would you guys rate Porky's on the Atari 2600? Let me know down below. And here we have MASH for the Atari 2600. The label art looks crazy. Looks very, very mashy looking. Got the 20th Century Fox logo right there on the top. You have a whole bunch of chaotic stuff going on there in the illustration with the looks like a helicopter. You got a military tent. You got all the military officials running away from where the tent is. The sign that's pointing over the place. And there you go. It's pretty much a MASH label art. Let's check the game out. And here we have MASH on the 2600. Look, it's a helicopter type game. Now this game right here, you have to try to rescue people and try to return them back to the medical tent. Now this game is actually pretty fun. It's a little hard. And then you have a little mini operation game right here, based off of the actual Operation tabletop game, as you can see here. It's basically the same concept. You have to try to get the little piece out. And, it's pretty cool that they had the mini game in this. I'm going to give it a 2-star, borderline 3 stars. What do you guys think? I think this game's actually pretty good. Alright, here we have a Star Trek game right here. Star Trek Strategic Operations Simulator. That's a Star Trek simulator, and you know what? The label art looks pretty darn cool. It's like a nice full label art. A lot of details, a lot of crazy stuff going on here, and I'm not a huge Star Trek fan at all. So I don't know a whole bunch of stuff about Star Trek. Never really cared to watch it at all. Let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's check this game out. Let's see how good it is. Alright, here we have the Star Trek Strategic Operations Simulator, and pretty cool title screen right there by Sega. And now this game is interesting. So it's like a shooter where you can actually fly around over the place, but you have a first-person view there on the bottom. So think of it almost like asteroids, where you can turn around and shoot different objects, but on the bottom you have a completely different perspective. You have a first-person view. Very, very interesting. I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to give it 3 stars. I think just for that alone, it's worth owning the game, because you can pop it in and be like, wow, my Atari can actually do this. It's pretty awesome. Alright, next up we have Adventures of Tron. You know the Tron movie, the Disney movie? Well, here we have the M Network Mattel game right here, and the CDN label looks pretty cool. No label art or anything like that. Let's take a look at the box. And here we have the box right here. Adventures of Tron for your Atari video game system. You have a little bit of a Tron box art right there on the bottom right hand side. Nothing too fancy. It's a Mattel game. It has the funny looking Mattel cartridge. Now let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's try this out. And here we have Adventures of Tron. Mattel and Disney copyright right there on the bottom right hand side. Actually had a little title screen right there, and here we are, just running around and jumping on, trying to avoid being hit by things. And the game wasn't fun. It was a 1 star for me. This wasn't fun at all, and it was just there's a lot of stuff going on. Personally, I did not like this game at all. For me, it was a 1 star. It was pretty frustrating, and I didn't like it at all. I really didn't like it. I mean, what do you guys think? Would you guys rate this higher? Let me know down below. Alright, here we have the most popular movie game of all on the Atari 2600, E.T. You have E.T. right there with Elliot, and some pretty cool looking artwork right there. This game had a very tons of hype back in the day. It definitely was a big thing. Big holiday game. Definitely one of those games you want to go out and buy it during that holiday season. And then the video game crash happened. Now this game got all the blame. But is it really that bad? I mean, let's go take a look at the game itself and let's check it out. And here we have E.T. for the Atari 2600 with the epic, awesome E.T. music in the background. Awesome title screen. And here we have E.T. trying to go around collecting different items, Skittles or whatever it was, Reese's Pieces. I'm not sure what the hell it was, to be honest. E.T. falls into holes and you have to try to interact with different items. And to be honest, this game is actually not as bad as what people make it out to be. It is a 2 star. It's not perfect, but the game is playable and it's actually not bad. What do you guys think? What would you rate this game? Here we have Ghostbusters. an Activision game for the Atari 2600. You can see the Ghostbusters logo right there in the center. Pretty cool. There's really no text or anything like that. It's just a plain, good old Ghostbusters logo right there in the center, with the Activision logo right there on the top. And this game, it's one of the few Activision games that does not qualify to get an Activision patch back in the day. So if you score a certain score on certain games, you would actually receive a patch if you mailed in the score. Let's check this game out. Ghostbusters! And here we have Ghostbusters on the 2600. And the graphics actually look pretty good on this game. It's an Activision game, and the driving sequence right here is actually pretty cool. I actually like it a lot. Then you show up to an area where you have to try to capture ghosts. You have to try to figure out where exactly you're going. You have to drive from building to building from that top layer map. And here we go, we have a ghost right here. Let's catch that son of a bitch. Yeah, get that Slimer. And here we go, we're trying to catch it. And I like this game a lot. The 2600 version of this game is actually really good. I'm giving it a 3 star. It's a lot of fun. Alright, here we are playing Pigs in Space for the Atari 2600. It's a Muppets game, and I was definitely a fan of the Muppets or the Muppet Babies back in the day. You have Miss Piggy, you have Gonzo in the back, and Gonzo, they're both wearing helmets. What the hell is that on Gonzo's nose? Is that a, well, no comment on that. Let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's play Pigs in Space. That is really weird. Look at that. Alright, what happens when you combine Space Invaders and the Muppets together? You get this game right here. It's basically a Muppets version of Space Invaders. It's a Space Invaders clone, as you can see. You play as a, looks like a chicken, or you turn into a guy at times, and then you have to shoot these chickens. Lots of weird stuff going on here. You see Gonzo right there on the top. He's like a UFO spinning. And pretty weird stuff. This is a 2-star game. It's an interesting clone. It's not bad. It's a little difficult. It's not too bad. If you guys like the Muppets, who knows? You might like the game. What do you guys think? Alright, here we have Superman for the Atari 2600. And definitely one of the coolest looking label arts of all time. That label art is actually pretty awesome. It's definitely if you would have walked into a video store 30 years ago, 35 years ago, whenever this came out, would have came across this game inside your video store for rent, I would have been pretty excited, just judging by the label art. Look at that. It was pretty awesome. Really classic Atari label art. But is the game any good? Let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's find out. And here we have Superman for the Atari 2600. And right away, you are Superman. And there is the phone booth right there. And now you turn into Superman, and all kinds of crazy stuff is going on here. Everything goes into complete chaos. I have no idea what the hell is going on. This game is super ridiculous. It is definitely doesn't make any sense, and it's a 1-star. But if you enjoy flying around as Superman, I guess you might like the game. I don't know. What do you guys think? This game is pretty bad. Alright, here we have the label art of Buck Rogers' Planet of Zoom. I believe that this is definitely based off the TV show from the late 70s, early 80s. Maybe the movie that came out in, like, I think the movie came out in like the 30s or something like that. The box art, the label art looks really, really nice on this. I love Atari label art. This one looks pretty awesome. You're in space. It looks like you have a shield. Nice little collage. Pretty damn good. I wonder if the game's good. Let's go check this out. Buck Rogers, Planet of Zoom. And here we have the game right here for the Atari 2600. We have a level 1 of Buck Rogers. And it's pretty loud. You can see we're flying in the it's almost like a, I don't know, it's like a shooting game, but you're actually flying into the horizon right there. So this is pretty technical for an Atari 2600 game. It looks really, really good. Kind of looks like something like you would see like on the Sega Master System with Afterburner or something like that. Space Harrier. It has that type of thing going on here. It is a 2-star. It's a pretty decent game, but it's not exactly perfect. But it's not bad, so it's worth checking out. Alright, here we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The label art is identical to Halloween. It's pretty much a stock generic label art right there. I believe this might have been a reprint label art. Now, this game released back in 1983, and apparently the game was banned from nearly every single store that it sold in because of how violent it was. It was super violent. You'll see that in a second. It was pretty hard to actually get hold of a copy because of that reasoning by itself. So let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's check this game out. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And here we have the game right here. Checks Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Got the title screen blinking. And in this game, you actually play as Leatherface, and you have to try to go around chopping the heads off victims, and pretty sick stuff right here. You know, it would have made more sense if you actually played as the victim trying to escape Leatherface. That would have been really scary, like the Halloween game. But this kind of reverses the role. You actually play as the killer. And I can see why the game got banned, I guess. But the game is actually pretty fun. You have a fuel level on the top. You have to go around scoring points by killing your, I don't want to call them enemies or opponents or victims. And that's pretty much how you score in this game. Pretty sick, to say the least. Nonetheless, it's definitely probably the most violent game on the Atari 2600, for the exception of Halloween. But this game takes the violence to a whole new level because you are carrying out the violence. You are literally the killer. Pretty violent for back then, and yeah, the game got banned in a lot of stores, as mentioned already. Still gets a 3-star. It's actually a pretty decent horror game, but I just want to warn you ahead of time, this game is super violent for the Atari 2600, and you may not be your type of game. Alright, here we have Star Wars, The Empire's Strike Back. And right there you have like one of those, I believe those are Skywalkers. I'm not a Star Wars expert, but I tell you what, the label art looks pretty damn awesome. Look at that. That looks pretty cool. I actually like that a lot. There was several Star Wars games on the Atari 2600. This is one of them right here. We're going to check it out. And if the game is anything like the label art, it's going to be awesome. So let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's check out The Empire Strikes Back. Here we have Star Wars, The Empire Strike Back. And if you look at the graphics on this, this is actually quite impressive. You actually have one of those walker mech robots right here. And it's actually trying to assault you. And you can see right there, it actually shot me down, that son of a bitch. And you have a little radar right there on the bottom of the screen that tells you where the walkers are. Again, this is quite impressive for back in the early 80s or whenever this game came out. Considering that this is on the Atari 2600, this is actually quite impressive. It's pretty awesome. I would give it a 2-star still. It's not perfect. But it's definitely not a 1-star. This game would have been awesome to rent back in the day. If you would have walked into a video store and saw the box art, the label art, popped into your Atari 2600, you probably would not be disappointed. This game is actually pretty cool. Alright, here we have Alien for the Atari 2600. Based off the Alien movie right there, 20th Century Fox. Now, there's not really that much of a fancy label art here to be seen at all. It's mostly a little image of the actual game right there in the center. And right away you can tell that it's like a Pac-Man ripoff. But is it a good or bad Pac-Man ripoff? Let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's find out. And here we have Alien for the Atari 2600. And as right away you can see that it's definitely a Pac-Man ripoff. Right down to the sound effects and the map layout. And it's basically the same concept as Pac-Man, except with a twist. You have a weapon you can shoot these aliens with. And you know what? This game is actually pretty fun. I like this game quite a bit. It's a lot of fun to play. It gives you really good action-packed alternative to Pac-Man. I'm gonna give it a 3-star. I would highly recommend this. It's actually a pretty decent Atari 2600 game. It's pretty awesome. We're going to be playing some He-Man for the Atari 2600. Here's the Mattel cartridge right here. Nothing really fancy to see here. It's pretty bland, boring looking. But here's the actual box art itself, like the actual box that the cartridge came in. It looks a lot better than the bland Mattel cartridge, the M Network. Nice looking box. Definitely completely different from the cartridge. Let's head over to the Atari 2600 and play a little Masters of the Universe He-Man. Alright, here we are with the awesome title screen right here with He-Man, Masters of the Universe. Definitely a really awesome title screen. Look at that. Nice details, nice music. And here we are flying around in a starship. I think it's Starship Eternia. Here's a little comic image of what that looks like. You have to try to blow up your enemies, try to avoid being hit by different projectiles. It's a pretty generic space shooter type game. Nothing too fancy to see here. I would give it a 2-star. It's pretty fun. Not a bad He-Man game. It's definitely not bad. But I wouldn't say it's perfect either. What do you guys think? What would you guys rate Masters of the Universe He-Man on the Atari 2600? And here we have G.I. Joe Cobra Strike. A G.I. Joe game based on, of course, G.I. Joe. And we have, right away, we have the Cobra trying to attack. Pretty cool looking label art right there. We got the G.I. Joe logo right there on top with the star. And I like the border with the snakes going around it. You have the little Cobra looking snakes going around the border right there. Very, very nice label art. I like it a lot. Let's go take a look at this game, and let's see if this game is any good. G.I. Joe Cobra Strike. And here we have G.I. Joe Cobra Strike on the Atari 2600, the game right here. And it appears to be a shooter. And it looks like you have to try to save your G.I. Joes on the bottom. You have a Cobra that's trying to kill everybody. And it kind of seems like a combination of multiple different types of gameplay. You have like a little paddle thing right there. You have two little turrets that are shooting at the actual snake. And this game is okay. It's not bad. It's better than what I thought it would be, but it's still a 2-star. I think this would have been a great rental back in the day. What do you guys think? Comment down below and let me know. And here we have Star Wars Return of the Jedi Death Star Battle. You know, right away the label art looks pretty damn awesome. It looks pretty cool. So if you're a Star Wars fan, you will definitely enjoy looking at that label art. I'm not a Star Wars expert, so I can't really tell you exactly what's going on there in that picture. But I can tell you what, it looks pretty awesome. So let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's play some Star Wars Return of the Jedi Death Star Battle. Alright, here we have the game right here for the Atari 2600, Star Wars Death Star Battle. And at first glance, if you look at a screenshot of this game, it actually looks like it's going to be something pretty damn awesome looking. But once you start playing the game, it's like the complete opposite. This game is, despite the game looking pretty cool at first, it's quite disappointing when you play it. It's not that fun at all. I definitely did not have fun playing this game. For me, it was a 1-star. There's definitely better Star Wars games on the Atari 2600. This is definitely bottom of the barrel for me. I would not want to own this game, but how do you guys feel about it? Let me know down below if you like this game. Alright, here we have Frankenstein's Monster. It's a game that's probably loosely based off various different Frankenstein movies and TV appearances. There's a ton of Frankenstein movies, so who knows. Like, here's the label art right here. You have a bat in the background. You have, I believe that might be Frankenstein. I'm not sure, but it's a pretty scary looking thing. And look at that. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but it's pretty scary looking. Some crazy looking stuff. I wonder how the game is. Let's go take a look at this game and let's get scared of Frankenstein. And here we have Frankenstein's Monster for the Atari 2600. I can only think that that's Frankenstein on top, and we have to run around and almost looks like a pitfall type platform. And we have different spiders and different creatures that just come out of nowhere, and all kinds of crazy stuff going on here. And it looks like a pack ghost on top. I mean, what the heck's going on here? Lots of random things. And I'm guessing that we're supposed to get to the top. This game is definitely not easy. I would give it 2 stars. Definitely not the greatest. I mean, what would you guys think? What would you guys rate this game? Frankenstein's Monster. And here we have Planet of the Apes for the Atari 2600. And right there on the label art right there, you can see some Planet of the Apes shenanigans. Looks like the apes are choking the crap out of that guy right there. That's it looks like straight from the movie. Some nice little illustration right there of some brutality from the apes. The apes are killing that guy. Some of the most barbaric label art I've seen on the Atari 2600. Look at that. And I wonder how this game's going to play out. How is it going to translate to the Atari 2600? Let's head over and let's find out. And here we have the game right here, Planet of the Apes. It's a prototype. And this game right here, you can see all the apes are going ape shit. They're running around, going through the woods, trying to kill you. There's a whole bunch of them. You have to walk around and try to escape. And it looks like it's kind of like an early form of an open world type thing. You have to walk around and find different places, and all these apes are going wild. They're running wild. You have to cross over the water right there. You can sink in some quicksand. And you can go inside buildings, as you can see right there. It's pretty cool. 2-star. What do you guys think? I think this would have been a really cool game if it released. Alright, here we have Star Wars, the Jedi Arena. For the Atari 2600, and you have like Luke Skywalker right there. Right there in the center. Yeah, it's like one of those lightsabers. It's like almost looks like a soccer ball. What the hell is that? Not sure what that is. I'm not a Star Wars expert, but it does look like a soccer ball to me. Okay, there's definitely something else though, probably. It's a Star Wars soccer ball that shoots lightning. Look at that. It shoots like lasers out. Alright, let's get ready for some lightsaber ball action on the Atari 2600. And here we have the Atari 2600 Star Wars Jedi Arena. And right away, you get the lightsaber ball action. You got the electric fire laser ball, whatever that is, and you got 2 guys right there trying to beat their sticks, their lightsaber sticks. And pretty ridiculous. This game is not that good. It's supposed to be like a multiplayer, 2-player thing, but there's definitely much better games to be played. This is not that good. This is a 1-star for me. And you're better off playing Warlords or Combat or something. This game is, not that good. Alright, next up we have Star Wars, the arcade game. For the Atari 2600. So obviously this was an actual arcade game ported to the 2600. And I wonder how this will translate to being on the Atari 2600. We have to definitely check this out. There's nothing really too fancy to be seen on the label art. It's got the Star Wars logo with the arcade game text right there below the actual logo itself. Now that's pretty much it. There's nothing else to be seen. So without any further ado, let's head over to the Atari 2600. And here we have the game itself, Star Wars the arcade game. And let's check this game out. Let's see how awesome this game is. And right away, we have a almost like a first-person perspective type deal going on here. And you know, this actually looks pretty impressive. You can see structures and all kinds of stuff like to the left of you, to the right of you. You can actually see some depth from like these pillars, these walls right here. Definitely really, really crazy stuff for the Atari 2600. This is the Star Wars game to own. Star Wars, the arcade game. I'm giving it 3 stars. I like it a lot. I think this is actually one of the most impressive looking games on the Atari 2600. Alright, things are about to get real scary. We have Halloween. For the Atari 2600, this game released, I believe, in 1983. And that's based off the first Halloween movie. And the label art here, there might be a few different variations of it. Since I know this game had reprints and stuff, but this label art is all over the place. This looks strange, really strange. Not a huge fan of it, but it's really, really bizarre. Look at that. Let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's check out Halloween. And here we have Halloween on the Atari 2600, and right away you get the actual Halloween theme song, which is really, really awesome. And there you are. You can see the actual people from the movie. Honestly, I forget what their names are, but they're running away from Michael Myers. You can see the little kid right there. You basically play the girl, the female in the movie. And you have to try to get the little kid to safety, and here comes Michael Myers. And he's gonna chop your head off, and he can chop your head off in this game, by the way. And oh my god, there's a good example of it. Oh, what the hell? I mean, well, that didn't turn out so well. I mean, well, this is actually an early example of a horror game done right on a video game. Especially on the Atari 2600. This game was downright scary back in the day, and still is. I mean, you don't know exactly what corner Michael Myers is going to come out of. He's going to chop your head off. You have to try to escape. And this game is actually pretty scary, considering it's an Atari 2600 game. They did a great job making this game. This is a really, really awesome horror game on the 2600, probably with the best. Alright, here we have Raiders of the Lost Ark for the Atari 2600. Indiana Jones game, as you can see right here, the box art, the label art. Looks pretty cool. It actually has Indiana Jones right there. You can definitely tell it came from like one of the movies right there. Definitely has a little bit of an Atari touch to it. Looks like it was hand drawn or painted or something. Definitely looks pretty awesome. Have no idea exactly how this is going to translate to an Atari game, but we are about to find out. Let's head over. Let's pop in Raiders of the Lost Ark and let's try it out. And here we have the game right here, Raiders of the Lost Ark for the Atari 2600. And right away, the one thing that you're going to probably notice is that this game looks and plays very, very similar to E.T. on the Atari 2600. It looks probably close to the same as far as like the gameplay goes. And once again, you can fall in like weird ditches and holes and stuff like that. So if you like E.T., this is pretty much close to the same. I'm going to give it a 2 stars. Not terrible, but it's like a open world adventure type thing going on here. What do you guys think? What would you guys rate Raiders of the Lost Ark for the Atari 2600? Alright, next up we have Spider-Man for the Atari 2600. And there's nothing really fancy to be seen here. You have a Spider-Man label art on this Atari cartridge right here, and the Green Goblin right there. And you know, the artwork on this looks pretty dated. It looks definitely pretty old, even for comic book standards for back then. I mean, it looks definitely dated. I'm not sure if this is based off the comic books or the 1970s Spider-Man TV show. Alright, this is a little bonus. Let's check this game out and see how good it is on the Atari 2600. And here we have the game right here, Spider-Man. And we got the Spider-Man little theme song right there. And here we go. We can use the Spidey web going up the building and you can also fall right back down. And this game right here is actually surprisingly pretty fun. And it kind of resembles some of the other Spider-Man games. Like there's one on the Sega Master System that's actually pretty cool, where you have to climb up the building in the first level. And yeah, you can easily fall off this building and you can die. So you have to be very careful how you climb up. I think this game's fun. 3 stars. Highly recommended. Alright, here we have King Kong on the Atari 2600. And for some reason the cartridge is blue. It's a Tiger Vision cartridge. Definitely one of the weirdest looking Atari cartridges. You have King Kong right there in the center holding the lady. And for some reason that lady is like twice as big as the airplanes that are trying to kill King Kong. Look at that. That's pretty hilarious. You have the blue background. And it looks like a pretty cool cartridge. Definitely, probably not common at all. It's like one of those rare cartridges. Let's go take a look at the game and see if it's any good. And here we have the gameplay for King Kong on the Atari 2600, and as expected, it looks like a Donkey Kong ripoff. And this level looks just like one of the levels on Donkey Kong. And yeah, Yeah, it's a Donkey Kong ripoff. But it's King Kong. You just have to make your way to the top and try to save the lady, and that's pretty much it. And instead of King Kong being at the top of the screen like Donkey Kong, he's at the bottom. It gets a 2-star. It's interesting. Nice alternative to Donkey Kong. Alright, next up we have Gremlins for the Atari 2600. Yeah, that's right, we have a Gremlins game. And this game is, I believe it came out in '84, according to the copyright down there in the bottom. And you have Gizmo right there. You have the old Gremlins, the bad Gremlins in the background. Pretty cool looking label art. I like the label art a lot. This is definitely one of my top favorite Atari 2600 movie, TV show label arts. It looks pretty cool. You got the Gremlins logo right there on the top. And yeah, let's head over to the Atari 2600 and figure out how this translates. And here we have Gremlins for the Atari 2600. Pretty cool title screen. And as you can see right there, this game is basically you have to like run back and forth and try to catch the Gremlins before they reach the hamburgers right there on the bottom. And at first glance, the game may not look like it's that fun, but it's actually pretty fun. I actually like this game. And then you have this sequence right here where they're hatching from the eggs. And you have to try to stop them. You have to kill them. These are the bad Gremlins, and this game gets a 3-star. I like it a lot. It's a lot of fun. This is actually a really, really great arcade movie game on the Atari 2600. I mean, I would not expect any more or any less from it. I would have expected this game to be pretty bad, as usual, for a movie game, but this game's actually not bad at all. It's actually pretty good. I like it a lot. I like the few different levels that are in this game. You know, it's one of those games you just want to pop into your Atari and play it every once in a while. It's actually pretty good. Highly recommended. And here we have Chuck Norris Super Kicks, if you want to kick ass. Chuck Norris game, well, here it is. Chuck Norris Super Kicks on the Atari 2600. Got some pretty cool imagery right there on the cartridge. It's a Zonix cartridge. Pretty cool looking cartridge. You have Chuck Norris right there on the bottom, kicking someone right there in the stomach. And you have some nunchucks. And you have Chuck Norris punching the thin air right there, just punching you in the face. Alright, let's head over to the Atari and let's play Chuck Norris Super Kicks. And here we have Chuck Norris Super Kicks on the Atari 2600. It's programmed by Zonix, and this is where things go downhill. Okay, so this game obviously is not a good game. You have to beat up your enemies, which is the obvious thing to do in this game. And you have to try to go to various different places and beat up enemies. And this is a 1-star. It's a very clunky game. And it's not that good of a game. I mean, do you guys feel different about this game? Chuck Norris Super Kicks. Let me know down below. Long before there was GoldenEye 007 and N64, there was James Bond 007 for the Atari 2600. As you can see here, the label art. You have the James Bond 007 logo stamped right there on the label art. Nothing too fancy. There's nothing else to see here except for that. Big old James Bond 007 logo right there. Looks pretty cool. Let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's see if this is an awesome game. Let's find out. And here we have James Bond 007. Of course, you have the actual James Bond actual music in the background there. And they had a title screen. That was actually pretty cool. And it looks like we have one of James Bond's vehicles right there that like jumps over fires, and it was like a spy hunter type thing going on here. It's pretty cool. It's a platform style. I kind of like this game. I think it's a little hard. Definitely not easy at all. It gets a 2-star. This would have been a cool rental back in the day. What do you guys think? James Bond 007. Alright, next up we have Fantastic Voyage for the Atari 2600. It's a movie that honestly, I never watched this movie before. But there's a game, Fantastic Voyage. And we're not talking about the Coolio rap song, Fantastic Voyage, which was a classic back in the day. we're talking about the movie, and you see right there on the label art, there's only a little screenshot, a little sample of what we're gonna get, and there's no label art whatsoever. So let's head over to the Atari 2600, and let's check out Fantastic Voyage. And here is the game, Fantastic Voyage on the Atari 2600. It turns out it's a like a shooter, but you're in like a perimeter right here. So like there's 2 walls on each side of you. You cannot surpass the wall. You have to try to survive all these moving objects. You have to try to shoot these objects, and eventually the walls actually close in on you, and you get even more or lesser room to actually move around. It gets more and more challenging to actually play the game. And you know what? The game's actually a lot of fun. This game is definitely a 3-star in my opinion. I think the game's actually pretty cool, and I highly recommend if you have Atari 2600, try to hunt down a copy of Fantastic Voyage. And here we have Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes, and obviously this is a knockoff, ripoff of Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. They probably couldn't get the license, so guess what? They just made this instead. And look at that label art. What the hell is going on here? Is that a bowl? But it's a tomato bowl? That is some bull. Look at that. And there's flying tomato bowls in the background. And he's barging through someone's property. And all their walls like completely destroyed. We gotta check this game out. Let's head over to the Atari 2600. Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes for the Atari 2600. Alright, let's look at this game and see what the hell we're dealing with here. This is a crazy Attack of the Killer Tomatoes ripoff. And as you can see here, there is a killer tomato right there. And it looks like you are a syringe needle and you have to like go around trying to shoot it. Yeah, that's right, you piece of shit tomato. You better follow the CDC guidelines. This is pretty basic. It's not really much going on here. I can say a 1-star. It's not really that good at all. It's an angry tomato that does not want to get vaccinated. That's all it is. I mean, look at it. Look at it. Alright, next up we have Dupes of Hazards. And we're checking this out right here. We have a couple of different label arts we're going to check out. This is the first one here, Dukes of Hazards. You have Daisy Duke right there. Behind bars, we have the General Lee doing a Papa Lily. You have Bo and Luke and Rasco in the background. You got the cops chasing them. Pretty cool label art. Let's check out the next one here. Now, this is a prototype. Both of these cartridges right here. This game actually never released, and this actually features a little snapshot of Daisy Duke, Bo and Luke from the actual show with the Dukes of Hazards logo on the bottom. This game never actually came out. Let's go take a look at the game and let's see how this game is. And here we have Dukes of Hazards, a prototype for the Atari 2600. It has a cool looking title screen. I mean, check that out. And here is the game right here. It appears to be like some sort of maze game. You have to like run around and you have to try to escape Rasco. And here he is. He's going to get you. And the game is not really the greatest. I mean, it's a 2-star. You look on top, they have a boss hog. Check that out. Now, what do you guys rate this game? Let me know down below. This game is interesting. Alright, here we have Flash Gordon for the Atari 2600, a 20th Century Fox game. They make a lot of movie games, TV show games for the Atari. And this is based on the Flash Gordon movies, TV show, whatever you want to call it. Right there in the center. I remember watching Flash Gordon years ago. That bald guy right there in the center, I don't even remember what his name is, but he used to scare the crap out of me the way he looks. He's a very, very frightening looking guy. And let's head over to the Atari 2600 and let's play some Flash Gordon. Get ready for some Flash Gordon shooter action on the Atari 2600. And here it is, folks. Flash Gordon on the Atari 2600. You have like a little radar maze right there in the bottom that depicts the location that you're at. So this is definitely not your typical vertical or horizontal shooter. You actually have different layers. You can move forward and back and go different directions using that maze. Now this game at first glance probably doesn't look fun at all. But you know what? It's a lot of fun. I actually love this game a lot. I love the little radar on the bottom that tells you where your enemies are. The game also is not too difficult. And it's not too easy either, so it's like just the right difficulty. It's a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode of Memory Lane. Stay tuned for more Atari 2600 episodes, NES episodes, Sega Genesis, all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, if you guys enjoyed this format, let me know down below. Do you want to see more ratings on more games? Why don't you give your suggestions down below? I want to know what games you want to see next, what consoles you want to see next. Down below, let me know. And have a great day, and stay tuned for more episodes.